Hi, and welcome to From the Heart. This is Leanne, and today I'm going to do an episode on the evolution of human birth, which is something I've been interested in since I was in high school. I even wrote a paper in my first year in university about it, and then I've just been seeing these things about evolution, and I thought I would nerd out on it and have an episode on it. And I have Prairie with me again. She's the third time.
Hello.
So thank you for holding space for me so I don't talk to a screen and to myself. It makes it so much better.
Yeah, it's easier to talk to people.
Yeah, exactly. And then I know a little bit better that the listener understands or not. And then you pull things out of my nose too, So it feels gooder. And I've never asked Prairie the two questions I ask most people that come on the podcast, and that is, how does intuition feel for you, and what happens if you listen to it or don't listen to it? Just because I'm trying to promote this idea that human design and all, like everyone is kind of teaching us to do, like in the spiritual world, to follow our intuition rather than authority and something outside of us. The way I see it is that however our intuition feels to us is actually how God or the universe or speaks to us and wants us to move into the world. That's how I see it. I don't believe in a one-size-fits-all way. Like, I don't think that everyone should eat this thing and everyone should do that thing and sleep 8 hours and that kind of thing. So so what does it feel like for you?
For me, my intuition works very much in the way that I think. This is the way that I think all intuition works, but it's because it only works for me this way. It's just a knowing. And I was trying to describe it. Like, it comes through like my mind, kind of down almost the chakras, and it really starts up here into my third eye. And when it's something that I should do, it's very much like an easy feeling, like, oh yeah, I know this is what I have to do. Like, and I can almost be stubborn about that. People are like, this way or that way. I'm like, no, this way. Like, we're taking this path. And they're like, what about I'm like, no, we're taking this path. And if it's a matter of something that I shouldn't do or, maybe avoid, it's like an intense, almost sickening feeling. Especially when I was younger, it hit me in my stomach so much, and I would struggle. I actually struggled with like an unknown stomach pain when I was younger, like a child, and into my teens and early 20s. And now I know how to, it's not a problem, because now I listen and nurture that feeling. And it was just my intuition. I was in situations that were maybe unsafe for me, outside of my control, because I was young and things didn't feel right. And I would just feel like so nauseous, maybe a light cramping. And it just felt like someone's, punching you or about to stab you or something in the gut. So when I start feeling even like light symptoms of that, I'm like, oh, this is something I should avoid. But now that I have that pain under control, I also can sense the preemptive signs before that stomach. I feel like the stomach pain is a last resort. It's like, you have not listened, and now my body and mind feel sick. But before that, I do feel a strong sense of yes or no. So
I've heard someone say that a yes is like it feels expansive inside of us, and a no feels a contraction. It feels like a contraction to us.
Yeah,
so that would be just a really huge contraction for you.
Yeah, that definitely resonates. That's interesting to reflect on those feelings, because now it just feels like second nature. But discovering it and learning it was really confusing, because we don't have those tools. Like, I was in school and they don't teach you that in school. And a doctor was like, oh, let's examine everything about you physically. And they couldn't quite, they just said stress. Like, yeah, it is stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not
But
listening to
yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Now I mean, thankfully they didn't put me on medication then, but I feel like now a lot of kids, it's just like you're medicated and then it dulls your sense of intuition more for sure.
Yeah. Because our culture is listen to authority.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Rather than our inner kind of guidance. And then my other question, just because it's like they say it's the number one thing that helps with health, and that's like quality relating and building community. And I'm personally a big fan of that, like building like a community that's healthy. What does community feel like to you? What would you like community to be like for you? And what's the importance of it in your life?
Yeah, community feels like a lifeline to me. It's really important. It's the way I have it in my life is through, it's something since I've been in my early 20s, been craving more of, like real, in your early 20s, it's very common for like I didn't go to university, but people go to university and they find the community, but it's a lot of like going out, drinking. And I think people do that because that's the way society has taught us to find community. And I was lacking that for sure. I was in a long-term relationship and I felt like I was more cut off from people and community. And when I left that, I started finding that in a different city. And it was just through, like, at first it's really intimidating, I find, when you have no one and you're like, I know I need community. How am I going to find it? But you just kind of start putting yourself out there, like going to yoga classes for me, going to the cafe and like just sparking up a conversation with someone and realizing, oh, maybe we have similar interests. Let's continue this. And slowly just building a community of like-minded people. I find it's really difficult.
Is it important for you to be with like-minded people, or can you?
Oh, I can be with anyone.
Yeah.
I actually thrive on that. Like I need it to be around, like in small doses, maybe I be around my like minds, but I actually really thrive on being around really different minds and different people with different ways of life. If it's too much or like too, in my eyes, harmful for me, I don't want to be around that in big doses.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I am still searching for more of a community, and it's a long-term goal of mine to create that in my future home, my homestead farm. I want to have, be able to bring people there and host people, friends, family. My brother and I share this dream, so something that I think we will nurture, and I do know I need more of it. I mean, it's harder in the cities, I find.
Oh yeah.
Like, even though there's more people, there's just more noise. I don't know. I'm from a small town, so I just found it was easier to have a community. I don't know. It's like you have to have the community in order to survive and thrive in a small town. And then in the city, you can walk out on the street and there's people there, so you don't feel as alone, but you are more lonely. So I don't know. That's how we met. I remember I was just, feeling like I needed a little bit more community. And then I found a group meditation through a mutual friend, and then we met. It was awesome. Yeah. So just going to events like that too, I find right now for me in my city chapter life is, going to events that have like minds. Yeah.
Something in common.
Yes. Yeah. It's important.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like taking accountability for either the lack of community or the quality of community that we build, so that we can kind of like step it up and and create what we want. So,
Mhm.
but it's one step at a time. It's not gonna. And if we go in needing community, then it doesn't feel right for the other person to feel like diving with you, you know?
Yeah,
So
the sense of desperation.
yeah,
I've
exactly.
totally done that in the past, and I'm like, please be my friend. Like, you're all I have. You know, not actually, but
Yeah, yeah.
you just cling to it. And
Yeah.
I've sensed that from other, this actually happened to me in the last year. And I sensed someone doing that to me. I'm like, you know, I don't enjoy that suffocating feeling. So I'm just gonna maybe take a few steps back from this potential friendship. And yeah.
Mhm. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for asking.
So today, which I'm just talking a little bit of like summarizing the theories out there of why humans are born the way they are, which if you look at all other mammals, there's most other mammals or placentals don't have assistance at birth the way we do. And so why is it that a cat can go deliver behind, like in a barn, and then those cats can find, you know, the breast or the teat right away, and then just and start walking right away? And why can't humans do that? So this is what I've gathered, and I didn't keep the dates or anything. It's just a little summary of what I want to share. So the first thing is just before even dinosaurs, why do we even have a brain? Because the brain development actually is something that's really different for us as humans than it is for other placentals. But the reason why apparently we have brains is before, when the Earth was like the beings on Earth were these like stomachs on sticks living in water. They so like what we have now today that doesn't have a brain is a jellyfish. So it's just like a comparison, you know. So there was these sticks that were on these stomachs that were on a stick, and they dominated the Earth. And then we think that what happened is that one started wanting to eat another, and then we developed the prey and the predator. And then to be able to evolve from that, they evolved to build senses. So the eyes, you know, the ears, the nose, building a different kind of body, bigger body to be the predator, and to be able to run faster away from the predator or to the prey. So with that, with more internal organs and limbs and these sensories, there needed to be something that could help control and be able to like gather the information from those senses, you know. So that's how we think the brain developed. And then the first vertebrates were fish. And it is said that we come from fish as vertebrates, and so that means that way back then we used to lay eggs. So before we were mammals. So getting into like how we started producing milk before we were mammals, I thought that this was fascinating because I hadn't heard about this or read about this until just recently. But basically, mammals or pre-mammals, some animals need to keep their eggs warm, and some need to keep their eggs wet, and some animals need to tend to their eggs more than others. And the ones that needed to keep their eggs wet, they started producing this goo, mucus, and then with those are eggs that are kind of softer compared to the bird eggs that we know. And then when the little pups, I guess, would come out of the egg, and if they were to drink the mucus, it gave them an evolutionary boost. And so then with the animals that were tending more to their pups, they started actually just producing more of that goo or mucus from their bodies, from like their bellies, and then it would leak on their fur, and the fur would create a channel that would get into the pup's mouth. So that's how it started. This is like when the dinosaurs were on the planet. So this is pre mammals, but that's how it started. And then the platypus actually doesn't have nipples, and still kind of does the same. The platypus still lays eggs that are soft, and doesn't have like teeth like the way that other mammals do. But milk takes up a lot of energy, and as humans, we have to eat a lot more when we're breastfeeding compared to even when we are pregnant, because we have a bigger baby who needs a lot and is growing a lot, and the brain development is really huge at first. So to make it more efficient, then the nipple was evolved later. And the nipple actually allows for a vacuum seal so that you're not getting rid of like wasting milk the way that maybe a platypus does.
Evolution of the nipple.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird to think. I don't know. You always just think we just kind of always had these things, but
Yeah,
we didn't. The mucus with the egg, that's interesting. Like,
and then the mucus evolved to have more like fats in it and sugars
nutrients,
in it and water in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me just see if I missed anything in here. There we go. With that was also like the evolution of the hormones for milk, but we don't know that because we don't have fossils of hormones. But just you can also think that prolactin was evolved in there, and they say that prolactin actually existed since the evolution of fish. And then with oxytocin, I don't know that we know when that came, but that became really important for mammals.
Yeah, especially with the hunting, like oxytocin and the I don't know all the names of the hormones, but the other, like the fight or flight response, all of that's probably birthed. Yeah, cortisol, that probably birthed a lot of new hormones. As
cortisol would be a really old one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would have been with the prey, I'm assuming, but like I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
a hard one to know.
I'm just a birth nerd.
What is prolactin?
Prolactin is let's ask, because all hormones have more than just one did I spell it wrong? I'm not answering.
Well, it's this, like what, maybe just what is prolactin or prolactin, but it's a hormone. Is it like a birth hormone? Oh yeah,
it's for milk production. It's mostly for milk production, so it doesn't have other. See, that's what I know.
So men would not have this.
I know
typically.
All the levels are different. So I don't know much about men health, but like men still produce and women still produce the hormones that are associated with being a man.
True.
And men actually do develop breast tissue.
Yeah.
So especially when their hormones are not in check. So yeah, that's just something I don't know about men's health. Yeah. But it seems to really be just about milk production. And then who knows? Honestly, what do we know? What does science know? Okay, so then after the milk production, there was which happened when the dinosaurs were around. There was that big apocalypse that we think was a big asteroid that hit Yucatan, and then which then created it like set the world on fire basically. And it said that it was like a billion Hiroshimas basically. This asteroid.
A billion. Oh my god.
A billion, yeah, more than a billion. That's what we put together. And then they set the world on fire, and then after that came a lot of cold, like a big winter kind of thing. And then so with that, animals had to start to live differently. So like the dinosaurs, they left the earth. And so big animals actually, so when you look at how when humans came to Australia, the mammoth kind of disappeared. So we know that big animals have a harder time with changes in the environment. So dinosaurs with that huge change in environment would have had a harder time. So like the big animals have a harder time. Yeah. So let's see here. So with the huge change in like the cold and the fire and that kind of thing, it might have become easier for animals to keep their eggs inside, so their babies inside, so that they can control the environment and the temperature and the feeding, like the nutrients that get to the babies. So if you lay eggs, you have less control and you can't carry them the way that you do if they're in utero. We don't know really when the placenta came because again, it can't be fossilized like bones can. So we don't know. These are all kind of things we put together and then theories that people come up with. So mammals then split into three groups. There were the monotremes, which is like the platypus, then the marsupials, so like the kangaroos and koalas. The marsupials did not do as well with the big change in temperature after the asteroid because they're very limited to Australia. Yeah, and then while the placentals kind of went everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. And I call them placentals, but they're actually called eutherians. It's easier for me to see placentals.
So it's like an animal, a mammal that has a placenta?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Placentals.
The marsupials is when like this is a small baby that is born very, very small, but then it stays in the mama's pouch and then drinks a lot, but it's like it needs the incubator still,
Okay.
Yeah. So we don't know much about placentas, but then I started reading more about it. And we do know that in the egg laying time, there was probably like an animal domesticated a virus, a retrovirus. And the retrovirus that's the most famous is HIV. But basically HIV just like penetrates its DNA and our cells. And so this is what the this retrovirus did, which then turned into a protein, which actually makes like tissue necrosis on the placenta. So like the big thing is like if I got a piece of tissue of yours in my skin, my body would reject it very fast. And so why is it that someone else's tissue, like which is the paternal tissue, this baby is not fully ours, right? Like the mother's. And so why is it that we keep that one? And so even in placentas today, we see this necrosis apparently in the lab. So this is not something that I could see when I was going to birth. But it's said that the necrosis is around the veins and not around the arteries. And so the veins is what takes the waste out of the fetus, and the arteries is what brings in like the oxygen and the other nutrients to the baby. So it kind of fools the body into attacking that, the necrosis, rather than like the baby itself.
What is necrosis?
Necrosis is dead cells and inflammation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Learning a lot. That's really brilliant of the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we think that preeclampsia, which is a disease that starts usually with high blood pressure, and then as it evolves, it affects internal organs if it gets bad. And then the solution is to just deliver the baby at some point, depending, how term the baby is and that kind of thing. So we think it's because there's a problem with that kind of like fooling the body with the placenta. We think that that's what causes preeclampsia. Because every article I read about this necrosis thing and this virus thing always led to talk about preeclampsia. So that's what we think. Yeah. And that would have happened, like, so the domestication of that virus would have happened in the egg laying time, is what we think. And then how it turned from the like a pup getting its nutrients from the egg yolk to staying in the body and then attaching to the mother. Like I can't find very much information, and it doesn't seem like we know.
Yeah. And I wonder how long that evolution took, because it was cold for a long time. So we think. So like it doesn't just happen in one generation.
No. This is
over several generations that, and that's so interesting
Yeah,
to think
so-
that it's like it's just started, to think of like the first shift of the generation of that starting to happen. And they just like, it wasn't like they were humans. Everything was very intuitive for them. Like they're just like, oh, okay.
These were just little animals, maybe like
Yeah.
squirrel-like and things like that.
Yeah.
Just like how mammals started, basically. Yeah. And then they evolved to being other things. Yeah, bigger. And so this is the part that I knew from longer. It's so the reason why we've evolved to have assistance at birth, and what created humans is we became biped, so we started walking on 2 feet compared to other primates. And the evolution theory used to be more that climate changed, and then our forests turned into savannas, and then the primates had to start walking on 2 feet to be able to see past the grass to see predators. And now there's like some other theory that we evolved in the savanna, like a semi-savanna, semi-forest, because we also see other primates being biped in trees. So
yeah, a lot of mammals, like I'm thinking of meerkats and all those little animals, like they walk on 4, but they in a survival instinct, they need to look above.
Do they stay that long on their feet? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. So becoming biped actually had to change our pelvis, and then that's when we think that we started like rotating in the mother's pelvis. So if you look at like some monkeys, they will just deliver and the baby will just come out like straight, no rotation. And then the baby will just climb out of the mom and like come to the breast, and the mom will reach down and lift her own baby and like have like control. But if a human does that, it's actually not good for the baby's spinal cord. So yesterday I saw like someone posted a free birth video of their own, and the baby fell on the floor, which, like, I will just say with my background that if you do deliver on your own for whatever reason, just you're not attended, like you don't want your baby to fall from a high place onto the floors. But this woman couldn't even reach down for her baby. And I know that other women are like, yeah, I caught my own baby, but that's because your midwife or your partner helped you reach down. Births are, even though there's a movement towards being unattended at the moment, there is it's very rare, like even in African countries and wherever, that they're fully unattended. There's always a partner, there's always another woman, there's like a grandma or someone who's there to reach for babies, because babies can't climb out, and women, like it's not good for the baby's spinal cord to reach down like that. It's better to push more from like a holding on to something else. Yeah.
Oh,
And even when I got women to reach down themselves, I had to help them do that or get them in a good position, really kind of help with them doing that. So
okay.
it doesn't
Because
come
the body's
easy.
more contracted and they need support from
not contracted, but you like the body won't let you be in control and reach like between your legs. Yeah, you need to hold yourself. And women, so if women really are unattended, they deliver on their hands and knees, so like, or bent forwards and standing, or they deliver squatting ish. So they need their arms to keep themselves propped up. So if for whatever reason, again, I can't give recommendations because I'm not a midwife and my client's not in front of me, but like just like stay low to the ground, or if you are the person who's attending, like catch the baby before the baby falls. Because even in that video, the cord snapped, and you know, I'm a big fan. I did that video on delayed cord clamping of like just like wanting the flow to get to the baby, continuing the oxygenation that way as well. You know, so it is natural for humans to want assistance at birth. It's there and it has helped us. So in whatever way people want to get that. Yeah.
yeah.
So by becoming biped changed the pelvis. And then the other huge thing that that happened that changed birth was the rapid growth in our brains. So with that, our skulls grew bigger, and then babies grew bigger. We grew bigger as well, and birth became more complicated. So basically, we evolved to like what was passed down was the roomier pelvises. What was also passed down was preterm labor. So that's why babies are born really needy and they can't walk at birth. So if we don't deliver babies walking, we deliver babies like maybe halfway through the pregnancy, compared to like, you know, compared to elephants who carry their babies for 2 months, 2 years, you know?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
And the bigger you are, the less likely you are going to have twins. So, elephants have a lot less twins. Yeah. Than us. Yeah. So, and then when, so our brains had to grow because there was a lot of climate change and it helped us survive. We also kind of spread out over the world, which meant that we had to build resilience to where we were living. And then there's more interactions with different kinds of humans, where we were either they could be interactive, where we would learn from each other, or they could be competitive. So war between. So we had to become like the smarter one. Just kind of evolved, you know.
Yeah.
And then when we started eating meats, our brains could really grow from then. So that really changed birth. And let me see here. So already at the stage of the monkey or the primate, the baby's head was already being born at 98% capacity of the mother's pelvis. So it created a lot of change in birth. And the babies today are like at, you know, maybe higher than 98% capacity of our pelvises today.
Meaning that,
so like size wise,
it's the full capacity that they take up all the room.
Yeah.
As much room as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Inside or coming out of
the
canal.
pelvis. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so like I was just saying how like with a monkey they can just kind of come out. And actually with monkeys I think that they face forward, so like face this way. when they come out, but our babies are actually born facing back. That's what makes for an easier labor, but some babies will be born facing the front, which is actually harder for the mother. But so basically a baby will start off entering the pelvis, like the back here on the side and facing the side, because that's where it's roomier, is from side to side at the top of the pelvis. And then lower at the pelvis, it actually becomes roomier from front to back. So then the baby rotates as it's coming down and then faces usually the back. And then as the baby's head emerges, then it does another rotation for like just the head turns basically, because the shoulders will come front to back, kind of like this way. So the shoulders will come out this way.
Okay.
Yeah, while the head will face this way, the body will actually face this side again. Because
The
that's
head
two
faces-
contractions. Yeah. So the face faces your sacrum, like your butt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when the head comes out, it just turns with the body. It goes like this to this. So, and then the shoulders will come out in the roomier way.
And the monkeys, their head faces like not toward.
Apparently, they come out. I've never seen a monkey birth. I've only seen human birth. But they come out facing frontwards, and then they can start climbing in the mama's belly.
Okay.
Right. So that's where the assistance comes from. And then, so evolutionary wise, the anxiety and the pain and the fear of like what's happening in our bodies is actually created and like I read that anxiety has an evolutionary purpose, and it was to get people to come and help you when you were sick. And same with birth, not that you're sick at birth, but just that it asked you to get assistance.
Mm-hmm.
And that did help with birth and our evolution and our survival. Yeah. So anyways, I just want, like, for me, that's just fascinating, but just with like the growth of people wanting to do these things called free birth, which means a lot of different things to people. It usually means that there's no registered midwife or physician or whoever else that is an assistance, but it can mean that there's a lay person with you. It can mean that your partner is with you. It can mean, and that would be safer than not having a person. Yeah. And then, so since the end of the Ice Age, our brains actually started shrinking because we didn't need to learn. Wait, do I know why? No, I don't know why. I don't know why. But since the age of since the end of Ice Age, our brains started shrinking. But it doesn't mean that we're less smart, because what makes us smart is actually all the intricate kind of neural pathways in our heads. So it's not the size of the brain, but just like all the neurons in there. Yeah.
Are there any other mammals that have any assistance? I don't think so.
I know that the whale does, and it's to help the little calf be raised to the surface after the mom delivers it. Because they need to take their first breath. And then I don't know of other mammals needing help, but it could be.
Yeah. Whales. Oh, that's magical. Yeah. I have seen videos and heard of that. Yeah. They're pretty I mean, they help each other a lot.
Yeah.
They're a community-based group of animals.
Yeah.
Mammals. Whales are mammals? I always have a hard time.
Yeah, whales are mammals.
Okay.
Yeah. So are dolphins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions about what I said? Did what I say make sense? I also will not promise that what I said is accurate, but I will promise that I'll put a lot of information in the show notes, so you can fact check me all you want.
Yeah. Yeah. She's got all her notes.
Yeah.
I just have a question. Maybe you're unsure. It's somewhat unrelated to what you spoke to. I mean, you didn't bring this point up, but I'm just curious about like the umbilical cord.
Yep.
And I'm unsure if other mammals even have
Yeah.
one. Are we the only
No.
ones? Okay.
No, so like anyone who would have a placenta would have a cord that would then feed the baby to the attachment of the umbilicus, like our belly buttons, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like monkeys have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do like whales and
Wow.
yeah.
And they just kind of naturally I wonder how long they wait. I know everyone's different, but it's interesting to just
I know that with
reflect
the
on
height of a giraffe, that the cord will snap at the birth
naturally.
of
Yeah, I've seen videos of
Mhm.
giraffes giving birth, and it's an abrupt fall into this world. Same with horses sometimes.
So the difference between like a birth of a giraffe and a birth of a human is that the baby's head comes out first usually. And so if the head falls, because our brains are so fragile at birth versus another animal that can have a fully like a pretty well developed brain and skull compared to us, it can cause a lot of problems for the fall. So that's why I was just talking about like assistance is there for a reason, and it is evolutionary, and it is for safety and whatever you're seeking out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. I guess I don't know why I'm just so curious about the umbilical cord.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, I guess when we laid eggs, we didn't have them, and then that was just an evolutionary piece, just like when the babies started growing inside of us. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and the placenta is the only organ that is a half one person and half the other person. Like maybe not half and half, but it's two people that build it, because there's a part of in the uterus that's the mother's, and then the baby that attaches itself to the mom, and then they build it together. Yeah.
But that's with all mammals,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
It's a wall. They create a wall in the placenta. Yeah. Anyways, I'm not like the best expert in the placenta thing, but I don't have a PhD in placentas. But it is fascinating. It's really cool to look at. And if you are having your own baby, you can always ask your baby catcher to give you a tour of the placenta.
Give me a tour.
They could show you the arteries and the arteries and the vein and the length of the cord and the two sides of the placenta. So there's the fetal side of the placenta and the maternal side of the placenta, which is the bloodier side. Whoa. And then you can actually even see the membranes. Most often you can see the membranes. So what was wrapping around your baby, because there's a placenta and then there's the membranes that surround your baby with all the fluid your baby in there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'd want a tour of mine if I had one.
Or if you ever attended birth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Prairie.
You're
I hope I made sense.
Thank you.
If I didn't make sense, you can look at my show notes, and then that will lead you in the direction of more information. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.